next
Not excited about
Homestead.
that.
So one of my favorite tracks, I actually camped there when I was working at NASCAR. It was an absolute blast with a couple friends, and I actually watched the race with Phil when I was there. But I know it's a mile and a half, so it's going to be similar to Vegas and Kansas, which we've seen in the playoffs. But what do you kind of expect? I know it's a little bit different in shape, because I think Vegas was a tri-oval, if I remember right. And then I know that Homestead's more of just your traditional, like not quite paperclip, but more of a traditional track. But what do you normally see out of Homestead?
Yeah, so Homestead's got progressive banking, which means the higher you go on the track, the more banks you have. So it's really good side-by-side racing there. Typically, the guys like to run up against the wall, and I mean like inches from the wall. You'll see Kyle Larson and Reddick just ripping the wall the whole race. I think those two are going to be the favorites of the race because of their ability to do that.
Is it Kyle Larson and Reddick?
Yeah, Larson and Reddick. If the closer you are to the wall, the faster you go. It's just aerodynamic. It's just how air works. I don't know.
Yeah, physics don't make sense. I'm with you.
It's the further distance, but it's faster. It's just that wake and that air coming off the outside wall just pushes the car down straight away. So yeah, it's gonna be exciting. It's always a good race there. The restarts are crazy there too. So.
That's what I was reading about. That was all the restarts, and a lot of the pitting stuff is just it's usually a mess.
I wish this track had 2 races. I really do. That's how good.
Yeah. So why don't they do that? I know the reason is obviously Florida, rain, it's hard, whatever. There's probably not a ton of money going into it because there's so many other things.
There's 2 in Daytona also, so it'd be 4 total in one.
Well, that's
state.
what yeah. But again, if it's a better racetrack, then I mean, I feel like you could dump one that's not as good.
Didn't there used to be 2?
But you could do one at the beginning of the season and do one at the end. Because I do feel like a lot of people talk about it. It's one of the more exciting races each year. It's one of the better races. It's one of the, it's a lot more fun, whatever. But I don't, like, why wouldn't they do one at the beginning of the year, right after the Daytona 500, just go straight down the state and race there and then go out of the state?
Couple factors. How many people have in your grand?
Oh, small stadium.
Also the market. Whatever's the financial best decision you're going to go. Had to tear out a lot of racetracks. Always had one race. I think Kevin Harvick was best quoted, but
yeah,
the best race is the ones that are only once a year. You die out a little bit to a year, but tracks like how tracks that are going to have 2 races that are bigger and a lot more. That's all about what we sold, guys. All about what we sold.
Yeah, totally. No, and that makes sense. I mean, like you said, it's a small place, but it's also Miami. Like Miami has
everything.
It has. No offense to NASCAR at all or any sports down there. Tampa Bay doesn't do well in Tampa. There are way better things to do than go sit in a sporting event in the blistering heat and watch cars go in circles.
Super hot.
It is just not what most people would rather go out in the water, go out fishing, go out doing something else.
They have a little beach though.
Yeah, but that's
in the middle of the track.
But yeah, so I think it's interesting. I think, like you said too, it is fun that there is only like a one-off race here. You can't really get any strategy from last race. From 2-3 months ago, it's a brand new race for pretty much everyone. Yes, they raced it last year, but like it is a new race. It's a new track this year. There's new competition. There's everyone's in a different spot in the standings or anything. Because last year Christopher Bell won, which obviously makes it interesting for this year because I don't think he needs to win. But obviously a win would be it'd be very, very, very nice if he was able to do it. But again, when we were looking at the standings, we kind of talked before we got going, it doesn't really look like any of the top 4 have to push their car to win. If anyone, William Byron, of course, because he's in 4th, would be like the one that you might see try a little bit more. But the bottom 4 guys almost have to go for the win in these next 2 races. They don't have they have to be top 5. Like they have to get into the thick of it and make it interesting.
Yeah, but 4th, you don't want to. I mean, you want to be in the top 4, but you definitely don't want to be 4th because if one of the bottom 4 win, you're out.
Well, that's what I mean. Well, that's what I'm saying. Is he's still on that bubble where you think Byron will push his car, but he's not going to push it to where it's like a wreck or a win. He doesn't need that situation. He needs to make sure he finishes and gets a lot of points.
Yeah, unless that win
But
is in front of somebody in the bottom
unless
four.
he's looking up in
Yeah.
front of him and he sees Tyler Reddick in front of him, then it's like, okay, now it's a little bit more interesting. But that's what I'm saying is he still needs to go for it. But like Larson, Bell, and Logano obviously could just park his car and he's fine, doesn't matter. But Bell and Larson need to, the same type of thing. They're going to push their car, but I don't think they don't need to win.
Yeah, in the bottom four, Denny Hamlin's is so good at Martinsville. He's always a contender to win there. Ryan Blaney was in the bottom four going into the last race at Martinsville last year. He won that race, and then he went on to win the championship the next week. So anybody in that bottom four can still win and knock somebody out.
Totally.
Very, very popular.
Yeah, I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you that going kind of right into it. Well, who do you think you got, Phil, for this weekend? Who do you think's the, going to be someone?
Bell, Reddick, and Larson are going to be ripping the fence. They're going to be I feel like they're going to be up there no matter what. The other ones, I don't know. I'm anxious. I'm anxious to see what Denny Hamlin's going to do. Not even this week. I'm anxious to see what he's going to do at Martinsville, one of his best tracks, because it's kind of determined, what's going on with him and his crew and everything, in between. That's one of his best tracks. So you got to think he still has a chance, but who knows? You really don't know. But anybody that's going to run up against the fence is going to be tough this weekend.
Interesting. Sam?
Chase Elliott all the way. I think he's right on that bubble. He ran decently well last week. Obviously got wrecked, so it kind of hurt his finishing position. But I think he's right there. I mean, he is eighth, so he is the last leader. He has to win. I mean, he's negative 53 right now in playoff points. So, I mean, in order to catch up to the top four. So I think he's going to push it. I know there's 2 races with Martinsville still, but I think he has a better chance here, in my opinion. But so I would pick Chase Elliott.
Has to win.
Chase Elliott has to win one of these 2 races.
He's too far.
I have to go with my heart here because I think next race, kind of like what Phil said, you have better drivers that are and they have to go for it. I mean, you have maybe 4 drivers, maybe 3 drivers, whatever it is, 4 or 5 drivers. They have to go for it. They're gonna, they're gonna push their cars. They're gonna wreck. They have to go for it to get in there. I think this race is not gonna be like a chill race, but I think you might not see as much.
Not like the last 10 laps.
Yeah,
cars are
don't
gonna explode.
like. I think there's pressure out of those bottom 4 that they have to do well. But like Danny Hamlin, like I think if he's able to finish in front of, I don't know who's in. I'm blanking who's in fourth. Byron finishes in front of Byron. He's like chilling. He's like, yeah, that's good. We caught points where we can get him in, whatever. And I think this is going to be the legitimate last chance Busch has to win. And I'm going to take Busch. And I don't know if he's any good at Homestead or anything, but I think the next race, is it Martinsville? Sorry,
playoff drivers are going to be pushing too
Martinsville's going to be, it's going to be chaotic. It's just going to, there's all these guys are going for it to try to get there. And then I think Phoenix is obviously, it's just, again, it's going to be chaotic between the top 4. Like last year,
they do let them go.
Yeah,
the top, that's
they
who
will.
needs
Yeah, and
to be there.
it's a respect thing a lot of the time. So, and Busch is
maybe
the most
don't.
maybe like disrespectful guy, but usually if it's like between the top, if it's Logano and Larson going after each other, then usually you see Busch be like, yeah, whatever. But Busch is also Busch, and we love Busch for being Busch. He might just be like, nah, I'm gonna go win my race because I don't care about you guys, and I want to get my 20 straight years or whatever. So, but I think this is his like legitimately. Like, I think just the next 2 races are going to be too chaotic for him to sneak himself in there.
Don't forget that not everybody lets the championship drivers by at Phoenix. If you remember who won the race there last year.
Ross, baby.
The melon. Well, he dominated that race for the most part. I actually will take credit on and ruining that race for Phil.
Oh, nice.
I texted you like way too early, I guess. I didn't know he wasn't watching, so I watched it. I was like, he did it! And Phil was like, no,
I do remember
you turd! Why would you do that? I was like, I didn't know. Why did you? And then he was like, I think you made like a Facebook post. You're like, next year I will be making sure that no one texts me during the race. I was like, fair. I feel so bad. I'm so sorry. But that is what happened last year. But yeah, but I remember me and my dad were kind of, we use NASCAR as our flipping channel. So we'll watch something else and that will flip to NASCAR to kill a little bit of time and then go back to the whatever we're probably watching. But I remember Ross kind of, I don't know if dominated is the right word, but he was kind of just chilling in the front.
Sounds like Kellen's just a huge NASCAR fan.
I'm not a big NASCAR fan. We just watched that one. But he was chilling.
He dominated blocking Brian Blaney. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, well, that's fine. Who cares? Screw Brian Blaney. He should have tried to get around him. He can't. But he looked like he was just chilling. Like he was just like, okay, I'll just take first and no one's going to pass me because you guys are all too slow. It's like when I remember hearing the story of it was F1 with the McLaren guys where they let and I'm gonna blank on who their team is, whatever. They let the second place driver pass and hit the first place driver on the radio. Goes, well, tell him to catch me. I don't want to slow down. He's like, he's just too slow.
Yeah.
It's like kind of like, well, hey, if Blaney wants to win, tell him to catch me. I don't really care. But anyway, so
Cool.
Busch,
Elliott.
Reddick.
He got Reddick. Okay. I think Reddick's going to be interesting because he really, I mean, like you said, those bottom, especially like I get Danny Hamlin has a little bit of wiggle room to maybe get in there by just finishing the next 2 races, but I think Reddick is kind of maybe there, but Blaney and Elliott have to win. They have to win one of these races.
Yeah.
I think this is Reddick's last chance, in my opinion. He's not really good at Martinsville, so
He'll just ride the wall.
Heck yeah. Full throttle. It's
That
probably
was
a
Chad.
penalty now. Yeah, it was. I remember.
It is a penalty now, which is dumb because who cares? It's part of the strategy. If you want to block him, put your car in front of him. It's just I like that to me is so dumb because I feel like that's just so that just like brings such a different aspect to the racing, and it's like, hey, if figure out how to win and
Well, it's
go
also
win.
extremely dangerous. It's probably why they did that. Because if he doesn't stay on the wall the whole time, he's going to turn into the middle of the track, and then like 3 or 4 cars are going to hit him. And
You
then
signed a waiver on your ticket. There's a waiver.
Be
Flip your
rough.
ticket over. They have it at every game. It says we're not liable for anything. If a car ends up in the stands, a car ends up in the stands.
It would not be good.
First off, don't ever call it a game. Not a
Oh, it's a game. It's a race. It's the same thing. You get a ticket for an event.
Oh man.
But anyway,
But yeah, so Homestead's coming up. We'll see what happens, and then we'll get down to the final 2 races being Martinsville and Phoenix. But thank you again, Phil, for talking a little NASCAR with us, and we'll get you on next week and see what happens, see who the final 4 might be. Maybe we'll have a winner. I don't know. We'll see.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Cool.
Bye,
see
Phil.
ya.
Thanks for listening to the Kind of Athletic podcast. Please like and subscribe to all our social media platforms and make sure to come back to hear more from the Kind of Athletic podcast.